All right, if you're learning English, you've definitely run into these guys, phrasal verbs. There are hundreds of them, and let's be honest, they can feel completely random. But what if there's a secret code to understanding them? Well, in this explainer, we're going to crack that code together.
So here's the plan. We'll start with the puzzle itself, then jump into some real-world examples you can use in conversations. We'll see how verbs can form families, and then we get to the main event, unlocking the particle code before we wrap it all up with your new toolkit.
Okay, so first up, the phrasal verb puzzle. Why does learning them feel like this impossible task of just memorizing an endless list? It really boils down to this, doesn't it? You know a verb, like get, and you know a tiny little word, like up. But when you put them together, the meaning seems to have absolutely nothing to do with the original parts. And yeah, it can be super confusing. So let's get on the same page. What exactly is a phrasal verb? Simply put, it's just a verb combined with a particle, one of those small words like up, on, or in. And together, they create a brand new meaning. The trick is to stop seeing them as two separate words and start seeing them as a single team. So how do we even start to make sense of all this? Well, our first strategy is to ditch the random lists. Instead, let's look at verbs for conversation. Let's put them into a practical context where you'd actually, use them. For instance, in a chat, you might bring up a new idea or jump in to add your 2 cents. If someone has a really bad idea, another person might just shut it down. But if they like it, they'll back you up. See? When you learn them this way, in a group that makes sense, they're so much easier to remember and use. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. That tiny little particle can completely change the tone. If you jump into a conversation, it's casual, it's friendly. But if you butt in, well, now you're being kind of rude and selfish. So the particle isn't just changing the meaning, it's adding this whole layer of social information. And that idea leads us right to our next big strategy, thinking about phrasal verbs not as lonely individuals, but as families that all share the same parent verb.
Let's take a super simple verb, look. By itself, its meaning is pretty straightforward. But it's also the head of a huge, and I mean huge, family of phrasal verbs.
And you can totally see the pattern here, can't you? Add after, and it means to take care of someone. Add into, and now you're investigating something. To look up to someone is to admire them, while the total opposite, to look down on them, means you feel superior. It's the same base verb, but that little particle creates a whole new world of meaning every single time.
Okay, get ready, because this is the real aha moment. We've been focusing on the verbs this whole time, but what if the real secret has been hiding in plain sight, in the particle itself? Let's take one of the most common particles, the word up, and see if we can find its hidden logic.
This right here is the game-changing strategy. Instead of just trying to memorize everything, we're going to look for the system. Because if we can understand the consistent meanings that a particle like up brings to the table, we can start to figure out phrasal verbs we've never even heard before. And it turns out the particle up isn't random at all. It consistently adds one of 5 core ideas to a verb. Think of these as its 5 secret powers: moving something up, increasing or improving, creating, fixing, and completing. Let's break these down one by one. First, we've got the most literal meaning, actual physical movement from a low place to a high place. You pick up your phone. You get up out of bed. You fill up your water bottle. The direction is literally up. Simple, right? Okay, next, up gets a little more abstract. It can mean to increase a value or improve a quality. Prices go up. You dress up to improve your look. You brush up on your skills to make them better. The core idea is always about making something bigger, better, or greater. Its third power? Creation. You can cook up a crazy plan. You dream up a new invention. You set up a whole new company. In every single one of these, up is tied to this idea of bringing something brand new into existence. Power number 4 is all about fixing or repairing things. A cut heals up. You patch up a rip in your jeans. You can make up with a friend after a fight, or sober up after a long night. Up here means making something whole or right again. And finally, the 5th power, completion. You don't just finish your work, you finish up. You don't just end the meeting, you wrap it up. And when someone tells you to eat up, they mean eat all of it. The particle up is like a signal that the action is being taken all the way to the very end. So what's the big takeaway?
By understanding these patterns, we just move from a world of random confusion to a place of real confidence. We've basically built ourselves a brand new toolkit.
And here it is, your whole strategy in 3 simple steps. First, learn verbs in groups that make sense together. Second, think of verbs as families built around one base. And third, and this is the most powerful one, focus on that little particle and unlock its code.
And that right there is the real mindset shift. You don't have to feel overwhelmed by some giant scary list anymore. You just need to learn how to see the logical system that's working behind the scenes. And trust me, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
By seeing the system, you've turned a really frustrating puzzle into a code that you can actually solve. So the only question left is, what language puzzle should we try to unlock next? We'd love to know.